Hey friends, it's me, Micah. This is the Homestead Bandwagon. Not doing regular bandwagon stuff today. Today I'm talking about my heart. This will be the third video I've done about atrial fibrillation. The first video was explaining what atrial fibrillation is. The second video was about a procedure I had done that was new in the United States called a pulsed field ablation. This video is about what I'm doing now. So 4 months after that procedure, my AFib has not come back, but I'm talking about AFib, my ectopic heartbeats. I decided to stop taking anticoagulant use despite my doctor telling me I should. I'm going to talk about that and then what the plan is going forward to keep the AFib away. Let's just get into it. Just real quick, if you haven't watched any of my videos before, normally I do tractor stuff, lawnmower stuff, tool reviews. So this is a little bit of a departure from that. But I think it's important because I did talk to a lot of people who have atrial fibrillation. It's a very common heart arrhythmia. And if we're going to review what that is real quick, it's where the heart beats erratically. The top of your heart beats weird, your atria beats weird, and your bottom of your heart beats normal. It's not good. It's very symptomatic for many people. Like me, I would feel like I was out of breath, couldn't move. It's not necessarily deadly in most all cases, but it can lead to stroke, which is dangerous. So I certainly wanted to treat it. The treatment I had, a pulsed field ablation, was a brand new treatment. It is a variation on different kinds of ablation. There's RF ablation, which uses heat, cryoablation, which uses cold. There's some potential side effects to them and collateral damage, because what we're doing is we're taking the veins of the heart where they meet the atria of your heart and basically creating scar tissue using heat or cold. So there can be collateral damage where things that are near that stuff also get burned or frozen. Not necessarily good. Not very prevalent either. It's a very safe procedures in the whole scheme of things. That being said, I wanted the safest procedure possible. And they came out with this new one in the US. My doctor had performed it on about 50 people before me. Not very many. It was kind of terrifying, but it went really well. You can watch a video on that. I'll have a link to that in the description as well. I was shocked at how well the procedure went, actually. I was pretty scared going into it. But let's talk about what's happened since. So I have not had any AFib since the procedure. There was a 3-month period they call a blanking period where you may have AFib, and I have not. I'm actually 4 months outside of the procedure. Heart has been very normal overall. I've had some feelings sometimes where I go, ooh, that feels like I got a little heart thing starting, and nothing. You know, I'm checking my pulse all the time, nothing. So whatever happened inside my heart, it's all scarred over apparently and not passing those faulty electrical signals. Probably, because there's no cure for AFib. This is simply a treatment I had, and it may work, it may not work. It might work for 6 months, 6 years, or 6 decades. We don't really know. I've talked to a lot of people who've had other types of ablations done where they've failed. And they've had another one done and it was successful. My father-in-law was one of the first people to ever have a cardiac ablation done to treat AFib. He hasn't had a recurrence in something like 20 or 25 or 30 years. And it was something that plagued him since he was 16 years old. So it's kind of just random chance from what I can tell. Just for some people it works, for some people it doesn't. Even though this is a very successful seeming procedure, it might come back for me. And if it does, you can always go get it done again and maybe that one will stick. Time will tell. Now, people who have atrial fibrillation also generally have very symptomatic ectopic heartbeats, me included. The ectopic heartbeats were almost worse than AFib. So what are ectopic heartbeats? Your heart's beating normally, but every now and then you just get a heartbeat that comes a little early. And sometimes it'll feel like your heart's skipping a beat. For me, it's very symptomatic. It'll feel like I'm being electrocuted or punched in the chest when it happens. Not very comfortable. Sometimes it'll take my breath away because the next heartbeat you get is extra hard to push all that blood out of your heart. There's 2 types. There's PACs where they come from the top of your heart, and PVCs where they come from the bottom. What I believe was the most symptomatic for me is the PVCs. I can really feel them. And a lot of people report that the PVCs are very symptomatic. I have not had as severe or as many ectopic heartbeats since having this AFib addressed. That doesn't mean I'm not having any. Some people I've talked to have had more than ever before. But we're really trying to get rid of that AFib. And so if I have some uncomfortable heartbeats here and there, I'll take them. I'll take them all day long, whatever. I'll live with it. And in talking to my doctor at my 3-month consultation, he just straight told me, listen, man, these ectopic heartbeats are with you for the rest of your life. They're never going to go away. So, okay, now we know what the future holds. Hopefully, no atrial fibrillation, which leads to a risk of stroke and debilitation or death, but maybe some ectopic heartbeats. I'll take that. Now, anticoagulant use is something that's always recommended whenever somebody has AFib, because in your atria, in the chamber of your heart, there's this little pocket where blood can pool up and cause blood clots that then pass up in your brain and cause you to have a stroke. I am in a high risk category because I had a TIA, which is a mini stroke, back in my 20s. So I'm already what they consider prone to strokes. They don't know what caused that stroke. We have some ideas, or not the stroke, the TIA. There is a difference between a stroke and a TIA, but we don't know what caused it. So being at an increased risk already, they certainly wanted me to be on anticoagulants while I had AFib. And they wanted me to continue afterwards. I decided not to. Now, there's a cost factor involved with anticoagulants. You can be on cheap anticoagulants like warfarin, but you have to get your blood monitored pretty regularly by your doctor to make sure your blood levels aren't getting out of whack and wrecking your kidneys or your liver or whatever. There's newer forms of anticoagulation like Eliquis and Pradaxa that are wildly more expensive and more successful than warfarin and less potentially deadly. So I was taking Eliquis. My insurance kicked me off of Eliquis and told me I had to take Pradaxa instead, which frustrated me because the Eliquis, I had a coupon, I was getting it for $10 a month. Even though it's like a $500 or $600 prescription, and my insurance was only covering a couple $100 of it anyway. So I was footing the bill for another $300 or $400 until I had that coupon, got me $10 off. Pradaxa, because there's a generic version now, there are no coupons, and the cheapest way I could get it cost me about $200 or $300 a month. So that was frustrating to me, but I didn't stop because of costs, even though costs could be a factor, and that may be a case for somebody. Cost is prohibitive. The reason I quit was a couple reasons. I was very nervous about the potential for a brain bleed or a GI bleed that would end my life. It's very rare, but it concerned me. I had a friend who passed away because of a GI bleed out of nowhere, a very healthy guy. You know, freshly retired, enjoying his life, and one day he was just in the hospital and didn't survive. I also am concerned about long-term anticoagulant use in my liver or kidneys. I've already beat up my kidneys and liver enough. I don't need a medication doing more of that for me. And then a huge concern I had, which my doctor echoed, was that if I had some kind of trauma happened when I was alone, like working out here on the table saw, working on something on the tractor, whatever, and I started bleeding a lot, stopping that bleeding is very difficult, if not impossible, without the basically antidote for the Pradaxa or the Eliquis. What if I'm nowhere near help and I don't have cell phone service out here sometimes? That trauma could end my life. Whereas if I wasn't on the anticoagulant, I could wrap myself up and go. What if I was in a car accident in the middle of nowhere? Same deal. Now, my doctor did not recommend that I stop taking anticoagulants. He recommended that I continue because the chances of an accident like that happening are very low, and my chances of having a stroke are my GoPro stopped working. But my chances of having a stroke are relatively high. So there's some mental math to do there. For me, I chose to just keep a pill in my pocket, basically. I'm going to have Eliquis in my pocket and use it as needed. If my AFib comes back, I'm going to use it, and then we'll address it from there. But for now, I'm just going to stay off it and call it a day. And that's a decision I made. I don't think other people should make that decision based on mine. It's just a decision I'm making for me. And for me, it was the right decision. And my doctor was behind me. He says, hey, I don't recommend it, but you do what you got to do. So that's where I'm at with that. What am I going to do going forward, though? What am I going to do to treat myself going forward? Because the AFib could return. I am going to do everything I can to lower my chances of a recurrence. The top reasons they believe for people to develop AFib are excessive alcohol consumption, of which I was guilty. I've functionally stopped drinking regularly since I was diagnosed with AFib. I just quit altogether for a while. Now I'll have a beer every 3 or 4 weeks. Not very often. The other night I had 3. Holy smokes, guys. I was used to being kind of a professional, well, not professional, but semi-professional drinker. I had some ability there. 3 beers, just regular old beers, took me out. It's like, okay, now we know what it takes. But alcohol consumption certainly raises your chance for AFib recurrence. So I'm staying away from the booze, drinking non-alcoholic beer, drinking seltzer water and stuff. It's better for me anyway. And what goes hand in hand with that alcohol use is your weight, obesity, and diabetes. If you can keep your weight down, which drinking a lot brings your weight up, it just does, that can cause stress on the heart, which leads to AFib. And people with diabetes, for whatever reason, tend to have AFib as well. So I'm trying to keep my blood sugars under control. I am not diabetic. I'm slightly pre-diabetic, but I've gotten that range way down. So it's a struggle I continue. And, keeping weight off is hard too, guys. It just is. The way I lost 80 pounds is by just cutting calories. It works for me. And then I gained about 10 pounds after the procedure. So I'm back on my grind, getting it back down. But keeping your alcohol consumption, your weight, and staying away from diabetes really helps you stay away from AFib. So that's something I'm doing going forward. Other things that are really important for me to do is manage my stress. Stress can trigger AFib. It can cause AFib to flare up. I'm trying to control my stress. I used to be a pretty easygoing guy. I don't know what happened in my late 30s, early 40s. I got stressed out, and that AFib happened, and that stressed me out more. I'm trying to get my stress under control, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I did find, again, by stopping drinking, I deal with stress a lot better. I thought that the drinking helped me deal with my stress. It really didn't. So that's something to consider as well, is getting that stress under control, keeping it under control, finding relaxation activities to do. I'm kind of a busy guy. I don't often take times to relax. Like right now, it's Sunday. I should be relaxing. I'm doing a video. I don't know if I'm a workaholic or what. I like to work. I like to do stuff, but sometimes it stresses me out. Getting that under control is important. And the last thing is sleep. Sleep hygiene, extremely important. People with sleep apnea, goes along with obesity as well, tend to have AFib more often than people without it. I also don't sleep much at night often. I stay up all night doing stuff and then wake up early, ready to do stuff again. That goes into that stress. See, all these things are related. I'm trying to get to bed on time and get, 6 or 7, maybe even 8 hours of sleep. I'm not feeling like I'm running on empty all the time, which is nice. I still like to stay up late and wake up early. I'm just a weirdo. But sleeping and getting good sleep is very important to keep your AFib under control, or eliminate your AFib, hopefully, or continue to eliminate the AFib. So I'm trying to stay on my sleep grind as well. Sleep well. And I don't have sleep apnea now. When I weighed more, I did. So again, keeping that weight down, keeping out the sleep apnea is important. I did start sleeping with an adjustable bed just to get my head up a little ways. That made a huge difference in my sleep life. If you do snore or have sleep apnea or have AFib, telling you, if you can elevate the head of your bed, it makes a big difference. Adjustable beds are not that expensive in the whole scheme of things. I'm blessed in that my wife owns a mattress store where she sells adjustable beds. So it was pretty easy for us to get a good deal on one. And I haven't told her this, but if you do need an adjustable bed, if you call our store or email our store or whatever and say, hey, you know, I was watching Micah do this video about AFIB, I need an adjustable bed. I'll make sure that we do everything we can to give you a very good deal on one, and we can ship one nationwide. We'll figure out how to do it. And if I can't get it to you for some reason, we'll figure out somebody local who can get you one where you don't get swindled. So I guess that's almost a shameless self-promotion, but I believe people should be using these things. It might have saved our marriage, me cutting out my snoring, as well as maybe saving my life, you know, by treating this AFib. I sleep way better with this adjustable bed. I can't say enough about it. So yeah, if that's something you want, I'll put a link in the description of this video as well. The store is called Bedtime. It's in Monroe, Washington. bedtimemonroe.com. Feel free to reach out. You know, if we can help you get an adjustable, find a way to make one affordable, we'll do everything we can to make that work. And I guess I got to go tell my wife that we're going to do that now. So that's it. That is the third video. I do not know if there will be a follow-up, maybe a 1-year follow-up. I hope this was helpful to you. If you want to subscribe, you're going to see a lot of stuff in your feed about tools and lawnmowers and tractors and stuff like that. So is that something you want to watch? I don't know. But if it is, that's what I do. Thanks for watching. If you have AFib, if you have done a pulsed field ablation, if you've had another ablation that's failed, reach out to me. Let me know how things are going. More than happy to talk with you. You can hit me up on Instagram, or you can email me. There's a way to email me through my profile on YouTube. Feel free. You know, more than happy to chit chat with you if you got to bounce something off of somebody. All right, we'll see y'all later. Bye.